Hello everyone and welcome to our next lecture on resignation and dismissal letters. So let's begin. First of all, we have to understand what resignation and dismissal actually mean. So the verb to resign actually means to voluntarily, means you choose, right, to leave a job or the office. Whereas dismiss, the verb, means to order or allow to leave, or send away, or remove from employment or office due to unsatisfactory performance, or maybe some other reasons as well. Okay, basically to dismiss means to fire somebody, right? So when you resign, you choose to leave the job. When you dismiss, you're actually firing someone from their job. But notice that the purpose of a resignation letter and a dismissal letter is actually to give official notice. Okay, it is official notice that when you resign, that you're terminating employment with the company. You're telling them officially that you no longer want to work for them. And a dismissal letter, you're giving official notice that you are firing them. Alright, so the thing I want to point out here is that probably before you resign or before you dismiss someone, you should have probably talked to that person or in person or face-to-face before actually sending a resignation letter or before sending a dismissal letter, right? So why is it important here for both a resignation letter and a dismissal letter to be very positive? So here I've listed down some reasons. Right, for a resignation letter, it should be positive. Why? Similarly to when you reject a job offer, which we discussed in the previous lesson, right, you want to keep a positive relationship with the employer. This is for the future, you never know what's going to happen. You probably you might work with that person again, and you want to keep it positive and professional. So keep it positive, right, and it would increase your chances of getting a positive reference. When you resign and you keep it positive and professional, right, you may need your previous boss to write a reference for you, and that increases your chances of it being positive as well. And remember that after you send in a resignation letter, you're gonna still be working there for a while more before you actually leave the company. So keeping your letter positive is going to make sure that that transition time, like before I leave, that transition, it goes smoothly, right? Now, when you dismiss someone, you want to keep it positive because you want to avoid, you're giving the person bad news. And you don't want that employee, the person you're firing, to feel resentful or feel vengeful, like they hate your guts or they want to take revenge, okay? Keep it positive so that although they're not unhappy, but they're not angry. Besides that, you also want to avoid the risk of libel or defamation, which is legal consequences. So meaning that if you don't keep it positive, if you are really harsh, you say horrible things about that employee in your dismissal letter, they can actually sue you, for defamation, meaning like ruining their name or their reputation or causing mental distress, this sort of thing. So you want to keep it positive both for resignation and dismissal letters. Now, I have a little asterisk there, this little star, because you want to keep it positive when you dismiss and fire someone, but unless the case is some sort of serious misconduct, that person has done something really wrong or broken the law, that sort of thing, maybe you don't have to like jaga hati or take care of their feelings so much. Right, so that's why it's important to keep it positive. So I'm going to go into resignation letters now, talking about the subject. Now, what do you put in the subject line? So same thing that we've learned, it's got to be underlined unless it's an email. In sentence case, where it's capital letters for the first letter of each word. And here are some examples: specific and direct. Resignation and your name. Notice of resignation, your name. Resignation effective immediately means when does it take effect? And it means immediately, means right now. You're resigning straight away. Okay, resignation, and you may want to give the date that you actually leave your job, then your name. Okay, now what about the introduction? Now, you start off by first, this is very important, stating that this is formally, officially notifying the company that you are resigning. Okay, so yeah, like I mentioned before, you probably want to, you've probably spoken to the person about it, to your boss, but this is officially black and white, notifying them that you are resigning from your position. And you want to state the position you're resigning from. Be specific. What position is it? And the effective date. When exactly are you leaving? And usually we give 2 weeks notice, although some companies may prefer that you give them 1 month. So you can use phrases like, I'm resigning from the position of sales assistant with ABC Sindri Berhad, effective this date, or with effect from this date. Or you can say my last day will be this date and the day, right? Make it very clear. Now, in the body, you want to provide reasons, but similar to a rejection letter where you decline a job offer, you still want to keep it positive and neutral so that it doesn't make the company look bad, okay? You don't want to be negative. So you can say things like, I have greatly valued the opportunity to work with you. Unfortunately, this is an offer I cannot decline. Maybe you got a better job offer elsewhere. You say, this is an offer I cannot decline, but I have really valued this opportunity to work with you. Okay, now there are many phrases that you can use, right, to give reasons that are positive and neutral, that doesn't make the company look bad. Now, so if you see this link here, you can click on it. When I give you the slides, you can click on it and see that link on different examples of giving reasons for when you resign, but still being positive and neutral and professional. Right. Besides that, of course, you have to offer them thanks for all the opportunities that they've given you, even if you're actually really happy to leave. Like you had a horrible time working there, you had horrible colleagues, whatever, you hated the place, still you should describe the key things that you actually enjoyed and the things that you learned from them. Keep it positive. You make them feel happy. Even if you hated the place, show gratitude. Right? And of course, you have to state willingness to help with the transition. Now, when you leave, someone else is probably going to have to take over your job or your responsibilities. So show a really good positive attitude by showing that you are willing to help with that. To help make things smooth. So you can say things like, I'll do everything possible to wrap up my duties and train other team members who are replacing you, or please let me know if there's anything else I can do to aid or help during this transition. Okay, and finally, you want to express best wishes and offer them success in the company's future endeavors, future business deals, future challenges. Okay, and of course, you want to thank them once again. Alright, so that's for resignation letter. Now, dismissal letter, when you want to fire somebody, how do you put the subject? Okay, so same thing here, but the examples here, unlike a rejection letter where, you're supposed to keep it neutral, you don't want to say, oh, I'm declining the job offer, I'm rejecting the job offer. That's different. In a dismissal letter, you have to be specific. You actually say notice of termination. Okay, where I'm cutting you off, and give the employee name, okay, not your name. A termination notice, your name. Termination effective, and you give the date with the employee's name, not your name, right? That's clear and specific. Then you start off again by, firstly, this is really important, you have to formally or officially give notification. Say, I am writing this to offer official notification of the termination of your employment. Okay, you can use words like regretfully, I have to inform you that you are terminated as of this date. For example, use words that give the tone. You're actually sorry. Give the effective date as well, similar to a resignation letter. Normally, most companies, they would give their employees 1 month's notice to give them some time to wrap things up, find another job somewhere else, to be fair to the employee. So they give them a reasonable time, 1 month. So you can do that too. Give them the date, it's about 1 month away. Now for the body, you want to provide reasons, okay? And here I've just listed down a couple of examples of why you would want to fire somebody. So one is redundancy, meaning that maybe the company is downsizing, they want fewer workers. So because of that, few people have to lose their jobs, and it's not because of anything they've done wrong or it's their fault. So that's redundancy. No choice, but they lose their jobs. Misconduct is that they actually did something wrong or broken the law. For example, they came to work drunk, or they took drugs, that sort of thing. Or unsatisfactory performance. After giving them way too many chances, they're still not performing up to standards, that's some reasons you would want to fire somebody. So for the first one, because it's not by their fault, you may want to explain the situation a little better. You feel sorry for them because you have to, not because you want to fire them. So you may want to explain a little bit to make it easier for them to understand. Explain how it got to that situation. Maybe you want to say, I apologize because our company is downsizing, etc., etc. Now, whereas for number 2 and number 3, because they've done something wrong, you may want to explain the specific reasons very clearly. You want to be very specific. You want to let them know these are exactly the reasons why. Maybe give some proof. Don't say, somebody said that you did this. Be specific. Give them actual reasons, actual proof of what they've done wrong or where they've gone wrong, possibly so that it can help them as well to improve in their future jobs. Right? And if you've given them previous warnings, usually you give them 3 warnings, right, for those misconduct, then you say that we have actually given you how many warnings prior to this, so you've given them fair warning. And you might want to state requirements for returning company property, right? You're leaving the company, you probably have to return all those stuff that you got from the company, for example. Maybe they've given you a car, or maybe they've given you laptops, gadgets, phones, documentation, maybe files of some stuff, documents, that manuals that belong to the company, and you need to return them. So in the letter, you tell the employee that you need to return these things by this date, for example. Okay, and if they have any claims, medical claims or transportation claims, patrol, this sort of thing, or if there's any leave, for example, annual leave that they haven't taken, that you can tell them or state that they need to submit their claims by this date or use up their annual leave by this date, that sort of thing. And for cases where the employee was fired but not by their own fault, you may want to include details of a severance package. Severance package meaning you want to compensate them. It's not their fault, but you had to fire them, so you need to actually offer compensation. That's what we call it. Compensation, where you actually pay the employee for all their trouble. Okay, so compensation, maybe some of details of benefits, and when they're going to get their final paycheck. Now, normally, all these details may come in a document, so you can actually say that we are offering you the severance package documentation, which I will attach with this letter, that sort of thing. So you don't have to write everything, but you can say that you're going to give them these details in another document. And of course, state when they're actually leaving very clearly. So give them the actual date, the day even if possible, to make it very clear when is their last day. And finally, to close, you want to acknowledge the person's past efforts and contribution. Thank them for all their hard work, that you really appreciated everything that they've contributed to the company. Maybe you want to offer to help with the references, especially for those employees who got fired for no reason. You want to say that I would gladly or be pleased to help you with a good reference, writing a good recommendation letter, like we talked about in a previous lesson on request for recommendation letter. You can tell them that you are happy to do that for them, before they leave. And then, of course, finally express thanks and best wishes for their future endeavors, for whatever it is that they will do in the future. You wish them the best. right? So that's about it. So before you come to class, I want you to think about these questions and come up with the answers. Okay, you can go back and watch the video again to get these answers. Now, what is a resignation letter? What is a dismissal letter? What is it all about? Okay, and second, why is it so important to keep resignation letters positive, and why is it important to keep dismissal letters positive? Okay, so you can go back and watch the video if you don't understand certain things, or you can keep those questions and ask me later in class. Okay, so I think that's about it. So thank you, and I'll see you in class. Bye.